Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Asia Sharma. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Friday, the 5th of May. Indian Space Agency successfully launches South Asia communication satellite. Clashes erupt in Pakistan-Afghan border, several injured. And decorated elephants attract devotees to annual temple festival in South India. And now for all the details. India on Friday successfully launched the South Asia communication satellite, fully funded by it and touted as an invaluable gift to its South Asian neighbors. It would provide communication and disaster support to the nations of the region.
The South Asia satellite was launched by the Indian Space Research Organization or ISRO on Friday. The satellite launch vehicle GSLV F-09 carrying the communication and broadcasting satellite took off from the second launch pad of the Satish Dhawan Space Center at Sriharikota in southern Andhra Pradesh province.
It's expected to be separated anytime from now.
The satellite, weighing nearly 2.5 tons during liftoff, carrying 12 Ku band transponders, has been developed at a cost of about $36 million. 6 of India's neighbors, including Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, Sri Lanka and Maldives, participated in the space-based regional communication project.
With this launch, we have started our journey to build the most advanced frontier of our partnership. With its position high in the sky, this symbol of South Asian cooperation would meet the aspirations of economic progress of more than 1.5 billion people in our region.
The satellite is expected to provide communication channels between the countries for better disaster management as the region is prone to natural disasters. It will help to meet the growing telecommunications and broadcasting needs of the South Asia region.
Our collective choices.
Moving on to news from Pakistan. Pakistan's maritime security authorities arrested 30 Indian fishermen and impounded their 5 boats on Wednesday. Police officials on Thursday said they were allegedly fishing in the country's territorial waters.
"30 Indian fishermen were arrested along with 5 boats by Pakistan's maritime authorities on Wednesday. A police officer on Thursday said that the arrested Indian fishermen were brought to Docks police station in the southern port city of Karachi for necessary legal action. The fishermen will be produced before a court on Friday.
पाकिस्तान मैरीन सिक्योरिटी वालों ने इंडिया 5 लांचें जिस पर 30 फिशरमैन सवार थे जो पाकिस्तानी समुद्री हदूद में गैर कानूनी तौर पर मछली के शिकार कर रहे थे, उनको पकड़ा है और उनको हमारे हवाले किया है, जिनके खिलाफ फॉरेन एक्ट और फिशरी एक्ट के तहत मुकदमा कायम किया गया है, जिनको हम कल कोर्ट में पेश करेंगे.
India and Pakistan share an extensive oceanic border with each other, which is poorly defined, resulting in fishermen on both sides inadvertently crossing over to the other side while netting their catch. The two countries frequently arrest each other's fishermen for encroachment. Fishermen from both sides often spend years in each other's jails before being set free and sent home, because the neighbors have a disagreement over their maritime border in the Arabian Sea.
Meanwhile, clashes erupted between Pakistani and Afghan troops on Friday along the border closure at Chaman in southwestern Balochistan province.
In another blow to already tense relations between the two nations, Pakistan's military on Friday said that clashes with Afghan forces broke out in a remote village near the border town of Chaman. The attack allegedly took place as a Pakistani census team guarded by troops from its frontier corps was collecting population figures. Pakistan's military media wing said the Chaman crossing into Afghanistan's Kandahar province has been closed. Several have been reported injured. Meanwhile, the Afghan police officials said the clashes in Speen Boldak district of southern Kandahar province began when Pakistani border forces entered the Afghan territory. The attack comes after Lieutenant General Navid Mukhtar, head of Pakistan's military intelligence, Inter-Service Intelligence or ISI, visited Kabul on Tuesday.
In news from Afghanistan, former Afghan warlord Gulbuddin Hekmatyar returned to Kabul on Thursday after 2 decades in hiding. He called for peace with Taliban insurgents and criticized the Western-backed government, which he said was not working.
Former Afghan warlord Gulbuddin Hekmatyar arrived in Kabul on Thursday after 20 years. Addressing a welcoming ceremony at the presidential palace in Kabul, Hizb-e-Islami leader Hekmatyar called Taliban brothers and asked them to join the peace process. Speaking to the large group of dignitaries present, including Afghan President Ashraf Ghani, CEO Abdullah, former President Hamid Karzai and a number of ex-jihadi leaders, among other high-ranking officials, Hekmatyar called on the Taliban to try peace and said if they were not happy with this, he would return to the mountains with them. Hekmatyar's comments in the ceremony, however, highlighted the complications likely to be faced by President Ghani. A peace deal was signed between the Afghan government with Hekmatyar last year that brought his Hizb-e-Islami party into the government fold.
امروز گام بسیار بزرگی در این راستا برداشته شده و این راه را تا تحقق صلح کامل در کشور ادامه خواهیم داد.
Hekmatyar's return to Afghanistan last weekend was followed by the release of the first batch of Hizb-e-Islami prisoners earlier this week, in accordance with the peace agreement reached between the former militant and the Afghan government.
NATO Secretary General, in a recent address to the European Parliament, asserted the importance of training conventional Afghan troops in fight against terrorism. His remarks came soon after his earlier statement of sending additional troops to Afghanistan.
Addressing the European Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee and Subcommittee on Security and Defence, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said that the alliance needs to stay in Afghanistan and help conventional Afghan forces in their campaign against terrorism. In the address, he asserted that the organization needs to make decision on its presence in Afghanistan in the coming years.
We have ended our combat operations in Afghanistan, but we continue to train, assist and advise the Afghan forces to enable them to stabilize their own country, enable them to fight terrorism themselves. And I think that if there is one lesson we have learned, is that in the long run it's much better if we are able to train local forces to stabilize their own country, to fight terrorism themselves, instead of NATO deploying a big number of combat troops in big combat operations.
This comes just days after Stoltenberg told a German daily that NATO is considering sending additional military personnel to Afghanistan and increasing the time frame of the deployment in view of the challenging security situation. Earlier in a statement, US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said that the ongoing commitment of NATO allies and partners to bring peace in Afghanistan, including a settlement between the Afghan government and the Taliban, protects the alliance's interests and, when successful, ensures that Afghanistan never again becomes a safe haven for terrorists.
Moving on, thousands of people gathered at a southern India temple on Friday to witness the opening of Thrissur, an annual Hindu festival popular for the elephant parade.
Emphatic drum beats mark the opening of Thrissur, an annual Hindu festival in southern Kerala province, where dozens of bedecked tuskers offered a visual treat to the devotees. As part of the festival, the caparisoned elephants pass through the streets of cultural capital Thrissur before reaching the ancient Hindu temple dedicated to Lord Shiva. The 36-hour event is celebrated every year between late April and mid-May and is a hit among both domestic and international tourists.
I wanted to see this lot of elephant processions. Now I can see here this Kanimangala procession, about 15 elephants, well decorated with all like gold and ornaments. I have not seen this kind of so much big ornamented elephants, like 15 at a stage. And the firework I heard is supposed to be excellent. So I am eagerly waiting to see this firework. It is supposed to be held in the tomorrow morning.
The Kudamatam ceremony is one of the main attractions of the festival, during which two groups atop participating elephants on each side exchange colourful and crafted umbrellas.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Indian Space Agency successfully launched South Asia communication satellite. Clashes erupt in Pakistan-Afghan border, several injured. And decorated elephants attracts devotees to annual temple festival in South India. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time next week. Have a great weekend. Good night.